Hello, everyone. First of all, I just want to thank you so much for everyone who continues to view the videos and share with other people. Our aim on this channel is to spread the word as much as we can and help people who are not fortunate to know about this. So when we started the marriage series, I got people who inboxed me, young girls who said to me, unfortunately, it's not everyone who's had the chance to have a mom who's imparted her wisdom about how to pick the right partner. And because I was fortunate to have that growing up, I thought I would bring my mom and she would share with you some of the things that she taught us that really helped us. So, hi, mom.
Hi, Anna. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for doing this again. Just so you know, my mom also is very passionate about helping young people. So over the years, she's also been helping youths to know how to pick the right partners. So you definitely need to take a notebook and pen and listen to what she's going to say. So we will get right into it. So firstly, Mama, what is the importance of making sure that you have a good relationship with your daughter?
Okay. Yeah, it is important that every mother has a good relationship with their daughter because you need to guide them in life. The thing is, as we grow also, even as mothers, because we were youths before, we would have learned many things as we grow. And normally we don't want our daughters to also make the same mistakes that we made. We also want to help them to be aware of certain factors in life that they need to avoid a lot of pain. So
Mm.
it's important that a man has a good daughter.
Yes, and one thing I could also add is a relationship is built over time. So start as early as possible and go on through the years developing that relationship so that even when you come trying to guide your child on picking a partner, they don't think you are being nosy or you're only doing it for your own interest. So continuing on what you said, Mama, to say there are things that mothers have experienced that they do not want their own children to go through. I would want to ask you, what are some of the important things that we need to look for when it comes to choosing a partner?
Okay. There are many things that a person looks for when they are choosing a life partner. But because this is just a talk that we are doing over a short space of time, I will try to think of about five most important ones, and I will say them in their order of importance according to me.
Okay.
But before I even say those five things, I would like to just give a little background to it. First thing that you know is that marriage is an endangered species. The devil is not happy when people get married and they have good marriages. So obviously, you have an attack from the devil when you try to establish a marriage. And also at the same time, the seasons of life. Life has different seasons that we go through. Some things that we are so unpredictable that you never thought you would face. Things like death, things like losing jobs, a lot of things. So life goes through a lot of seasons. And also at the same time, when you have a marriage, you have two people that are coming from different homes who are trying to get together and come together and make a marriage. So which means from those three factors, you are definitely going to have lots of conflicts and problems in marriage. The three things already just start you off on a space where you are going to have problems. So your aim is to try not to bring in baggage that you could have avoided to bring into the same marriage, which already has possible conflicts that are coming. So the five things are going to me would be number one, you get somebody who is God-fearing. There's a difference between someone who's God-fearing, someone who's a churchgoer, or someone who is a fanatic. So you do not be a fanatic, because fanatics can give you difficult times. They look like they are very good people who are who've got the God's purpose in mind, but no, some of them are really, or maybe they're actually just being used by the devil, because then most fanatics make people's lives very difficult in marriage. And also a church goer is someone who's just going to church. They'll be there on time every Sabbath or every Sunday, whatever it is. They'll be there on time and they'll do all the activities, but they don't have really that commitment to God. A God-fearing person, on the other hand, is someone who has their own personal relationship with God and they listen to what God says. That kind of person is the one that you really want, because that's the one person whom, when you go through the seasons of life, they will be able to go to God and ask and be able to, to get good guidance in your marriage. And number two, you want someone who has potential to have a good financial stability. What do I mean by potential? There are some people who might not have had good opportunities in life to make it on the financial ladder, or on the corporate ladder, or whichever way you're looking at it. There's a business ladder or is the corporate ladder, but yet they have potential. They are willing to work. If they get the opportunity, they would have also gone to school. If they had the opportunity, they would have also started businesses. So that kind of person who has potential, you know that we can be able to work together. That's the kind of person you want. And how do you identify someone with potential? You see the way that they run their life. Are they people who are lazy? Do they just wake up to have everybody do things for them? Are they always borrowing things from other people and not doing something for themselves? So you have to look at their life and see if you see that there's someone with potential and they have lots of dreams and they are actually trying to do something about their life to make themselves financially stable. And then also the third thing is look for someone who is responsible, someone who knows the responsibility of paying utility bills in a home, or who knows that fund that come before things that need to be paid that are necessary in life. And I normally always say the big guide to that is somebody who is already staying on their own, because they've already gone through the ropes and they know that at the end of the month we have to pay the rent, we have to pay the bills, and we have to pay whatever other things that needs to be paid. There are some people who do stay with their parents and they are responsible. So how you find that out is you see their responsibility, how they handle their own financial life. When they are home, are they contributing to something in their home with their parents, or are they always just waiting for someone to do everything for them? They never help their parents pay for electricity. They never help their parents to buy even food or anything. So that kind of person, you don't really want them in your life, because that person will give you difficulties when you get married. And then also get someone who has, whom you have many things in common with, as much as possible, at least, so that at least we can be able to say we play games together, we like this together, we have some things that you can do in common. And then also the fifth thing is have someone who is going to be able to laugh with you, someone we are going to be able to joke with. You don't want to get someone who's always serious. Many Christians go through their life just with straight faces. There's no time for fun. There's no time to laugh. You want someone who's also going to help you to laugh. During those seasons of life, there are those moments where you're going to need somebody whom you can sit and connect with and talk and discuss when you go through those difficult times, and also laugh when there's a need to do that.
Thank you so much for that. And I was going to say, there's a part that you said, make sure that you get along. So are you saying you should have a friendship in a marriage?
Yes, it would be very good for you to have someone that you can be friends with, because communication is a very key thing in marriage, and being able to connect is so important. You can have a friendship, that would be perfect.
Yes. And then you mentioned the point about responsibility, to say, even if a person is not earning much, they can be responsible enough to be helping in their homes. And I thought that was really good, because there's an excuse that some guys can use and say, I don't have much, but it's already a red flag, because it shows you that they're not willing to do anything in their home and buy something as small as bread, So thank you so much for that. Then I wanted to ask you, what is the importance of making sure that the person you're dating meets your family? I know when we were growing up, you even said, when you get serious about someone, bring them to me so that I see them. What is the importance of doing that?
The importance is that, sometimes as parents, not sometimes, but all the time, as parents, we tend to know some things that you don't know. We have ways of identifying some things that you are not able to. So the best thing is go with them to your parents. You are still young, but your parents are older and they are wiser. So they will be able to identify some telltale signs of some problems that they think you might have in future. So it's important for you to them, and then so that at least they can also be able to know this person and guide you early in marriage. You need to do that early in the courtship, because if you do it at a time when you've now committed, if your parents should point out something which is very important, you might not even want to listen to it at that point because you would have made commitments.
Okay, and for some people who probably don't have a good relationship with their parents, where they can actually go with someone they're seeing, what can they do?
They should at least identify an elderly couple in the church or some people in their life whom they actually respect and whom they know that these people have wisdom. They should take them to those people or to that person, whether it's the or it's Amnini or it's someone in the family. They should have someone who's at least mature who can guide them.
That is so true. And one of the points that I just thought of from the top of my head, I don't know if you're also going to share it, is to find someone who does not make you compromise your principles. You know, like a lot of young people these days are facing situations where someone will say, if you love me, then you need to be doing this. If you love me, then you have to be sleeping with me. If you love me, then you need to be compromising your principles. And even when it comes to your church, to say, if you love me, church shouldn't matter to you. What can you say when it comes to that?
That's the reason why the first point that I gave you was God-fearing. People that are God-fearing not do that. They will not make you do that. Because they themselves have a relationship with God and they know the things that they should not be doing and they respect what God has told them to do. So that's why you need to get a God-fearing spouse or a God-fearing partner. So that's how that's going to be taken care of. And then...
And then
I was saying, and then most people that have problems in their relationship in the future is because they would have ignored red flags that they identified during their relationship. So a person should not ignore those red flags. You can be able to, during that relationship, be able to identify, to say, can I trust this guy? Is this guy really responsible? How come he behaved like this the other time? Those are red flags that you are seeing, and some red flags most people normally just want to brush them off and say it will get better. You should not. If you see a person is bad-tempered, they are busy shouting when they have had problems in their family and all that, then know that person is a red flagged person. Those red flags, you shouldn't ignore them. And then also remember that when you get married, there are some new things that you are going to discover with each other because of the different seasons of life that you are going to go through. So if you do identify some of those red flags now, then you don't really want to ignore them. You want to sort them out.
That is so true. And that's why they say take your time to get to know each other and don't rush.
Yes.
I know there's a Shona saying that says, Rino nyenga rino warara, rino sumdam soro. To say someone can pretend for a while, but at some point they're going to show who they really are. So it's always important that you do that. And I wanted to say, what is the importance of also making sure that you just don't get the counseling at the beginning of marriage, like you mentioned, to say marriage goes through different seasons. There's some who then get married and they see things are not going the way that they wanted. What can they do if you realize that we're coming from two different backgrounds? Maybe I learned this and my spouse did not learn this, and we need help from someone who's outside. What is the best way to do it, or where's the best place to get the help that you need?
Counseling should really form part and parcel of your life. If you've now decided, know that now we're really deciding that we want to get married. During that courtship period, have a counselor. That counselor could just be a pastor that you probably know, or an actual marriage counselor, someone whom you probably know as a friend. You should start engaging them right from the time that you are actually getting serious to get married. It's important, because then a counselor is like a person who gives you that outside view that the two of you might not see, because the two of you are emotionally engaged, and you might not see something where they are supposed to be. But a counselor will help you to be able to see things reasonably. I know, like some counselors who said, before you get married to someone, at least have 5 good reasons why you like them. So those kind of that you start getting will help you, so that you start identifying early if there are any areas that you need to sort out. So having a counselor relationship is very important. And remember that not a counselor is someone who's always a professional counselor. Can be your tete, it can be your friend. Sometimes it's just a friend who is good at being able to identify some things to help you, wise friends. But one
Yeah.
important thing is that you need to have God, you need to pray, because God is the one who can see things from afar. He can see the future. He even knows the things that you are going to go through in the future. So if you engage God right from the beginning in your relationship, it will also help you. So when you have time to pray, and when you have time to pray together, time to discuss with God or on your own as well, God will start giving you pointers. He is actually one of your best friends that we have. If you have no friend, no other person who can guide you, God is your best guide. So don't leave him out.
Thank you so much for that. And I just wanted to add to say, from working with a lot of couples, I've learned something that I can help young people to just say, you set your standards from day one. When it comes to your relationship with God, don't compromise. Don't be bunking church and saying, you know what, let's go have fun. Because when you then get married and you say, we need to pray for our marriage, it won't make sense to your spouse, because they're like, you're the same person who used to run away from church and now you want me to be serious. So it's so important that you set your standards and you don't compromise your relationship with God. Mama, finally, I want you to help young people who might be going through a waiting season, who might be saying to themselves, you know what, I've been praying for years, I'm not getting a spouse, I'm not getting someone who's right for me. I've lived by the standards you're mentioning, and each time I pray, God removes the person and says they are not the right one, and probably I'm getting old. What can you say to encourage them?
The most important thing is that we should always remember that God is the one who has our life's plan on earth. He's the one who created us. He knows our purposes in life. So he has the bigger plan. We make plans for ourselves, but we have to subject our plans of life in his hands. So God knows what it is that he wants you to do, or what it is that he wants you to go experience in your life. So what you should do is that for everything about your life, commit it to God. A God-fearing person, steps are ordered by the Lord. So God will then order you. So if God decides that you are not going to get married, that's what he has decided for you. And that plan should not bring dissatisfaction in your life. You should still be able to feel fine about it. So if you see that the years are going on and it's like you are going to really get old and you are really not even going to get a husband, you should still not get anxious, because you know that God is the one who's guiding my life. However, there are some people who have put timelines for themselves regarding marriage, and yet God has a different plan for them. I remember I used to have a young lady who was a friend of mine, though she was so young, but we were good friends and we used to click. And she would ask me for advice over things. And the years were going on and guys were coming, but the kind of guys who were coming were not people that were coming from your own religion. Because one of the most important things is that you should make sure that you go out with someone who comes from your own religion. Because if you have different religions, you are going to face serious problems. It might look fine while you are still courting, but when you get married, you have issues like, which church are we going to go to? Whose church are we going to? Then you start having fights. So she was getting girls that were coming from other religions and not from her own religion. And I told her, wait, if God knows that you need to get married to someone, he is going to bring the person at the right time. She ended up getting, I think, to the age of 35. And she was still a virgin. She was still waiting. But she went through anxious moments, because she would start wondering, is it this one? Guys would come and she would think, finally, I think now I got someone. But that person would just go away. And it was very frustrating for her, and she thought God had forsaken her. But we encouraged each other, and I told her, let's just keep praying. One day you will get your person. And guess what? At age 35, she also found another virgin man who was age 37. And they got married. That was the person that God had planned for her. And we went for the wedding. It was a nice time. And today they've got their family and they're doing well. So submit your plans to God. God is the one who knows.
Wow.
And you had mentioned that issue about people just getting married quickly. People should avoid doing that. You should avoid getting to know someone in 3 months you get married. Before, during our days, people used to get engaged for periods, for long periods, so for you to be able to, at least normally they would say at least not less than 6 months, have an engagement, because during that time you are seeing a person and getting to know them. And it's always better to break an engagement than to divorce. So don't go into rushed relationships where in 3 months you're already married. You don't know that person. It's important for you to know before you get married how your spouse reacts to conflicts. Because when the person is angry, you don't even know how they behave. You can't know how they behave in 3 months. It's too short a period. So you are going to likely have a problem in future. So for me, a person should not get anxious. Let them wait for God.
Amen. Thank you so much. We could go on and on, but we hope that this video has encouraged someone to know that they need to wait on God. Surround yourself with the right people. Don't give up on God. It is better for you to wait for your Isaac than to create your own Ishmael. You know how Abraham ended up going ahead of God, and he had problems where now there's a nation that is, as a result of what he did. So sometimes God might take a while, but always be encouraged to know that, like Mama mentioned, I know the plans that I have for you. They're never to harm you. They're always for your best. So wait on God, learn, get mentors, get people who encourage you, and don't stop living your life because you're waiting for a spouse. There is so much more to life, and at the right time, God will give you the right person. Thank you so much, Mama. Are there any final words before we end?
I think my final words are, please make sure that you don't get yourself in a relationship where you have to accept extraordinary situations. When I say extraordinary, something which is not the norm, because what's going to happen is that if you get into that kind of a relationship where you need to sacrifice something which is extraordinary, when you go through the seasons of life, you are going to end up regretting, because there are some things which are supposed to just be the normal thing that people are supposed to expect in life. But when it gets to be extraordinary situations and you find yourself saying, okay, I think, despite whatever situation we are in, I will still marry you. Normally, those kind of people, after 3, 4, 5 years of marriage, they will regret and they will give you hard times. So may God guide you as you choose your life partner. As long as you keep him as your friend, it will be fine. And just know, not everyone is perfect. So even your list of the things that you want in a person might not be fully completed, but you should just have some things that these are huge, this is major. And on this list, if it is not ticking, I am not compromising. So don't compromise on your huge standards that you have set for yourself. But no one is perfect. There are some things that people can get over and they can learn. But don't expect a person to learn things that have to do with their character, because it doesn't happen that way. It takes time. So don't compromise on those issues. May God be with you all. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and taking this time. And for those who have finished the video, thank you so much for watching to the end. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Bye.